I welcome all of you to this panel discussion. So without cutting any time, let's get started. So my question will be for Mr. Ali Ashraf Khan, Sustainability and Value Chain Advisor, Embassy of Denmark in Bangladesh. So Denmark has been, I think you are the pioneer, even when we are talking about the sustainability sector, you have started this Partnership for Cleaner Textile initiative. To today's focus on circularity and just on transition we have talked, you have started at the very beginning. So my first question is about evolution. How has the nature of Danish engagement on green finance evolved? And is the current volume and architecture of Danish support commensurate with the scale of the transition Bangladesh apparel sector now faces?
Okay, thank you for inviting. So first of all, I can talk about the Danish involvement in Bangladesh. So we are involving with since long, like we have different engagement in Bangladesh. If you talk about that, we can take 2-3 segment of it. Like we have development assistance to Bangladesh, which is like highest after Tanzania. And we have different engagement with World Bank and ILO and some others. Also, we have government-to-government engagement where we are trying to focusing how Denmark and Bangladesh can involve, focusing on the bilateral relationship with Denmark and Bangladesh. And finally, we have different financial tools like Danida Infrastructure Finance. Then we have like some other tools, what we are implementing in last couple of years. But nowadays, what we are focusing, like from aid to trade, like from like aid to business actually, how we can engage different companies, different industry, and they can explore the different financial option. For example, Mr. Sadat is here. We did one piloting in his factory where Danida funded energy equipment. So how Bangladesh can move forward? They can involve the partnership with different agencies, different government association. And finally, if they want more engagement than the private finance and also now the Danida infrastructure finance and also Impact Fund Denmark is also available where Bangladesh can explore. But for this reason, Bangladesh need to fulfill some certain criteria, how they will move forward, the challenges, how they can in line with the world standard. So that they should focus on.
Thank you so much for your precise answer. Actually, with your answer, you are giving me the context for the second question regarding the, as you are mentioning about aid to trade. So nowadays, we are talking a lot about investment. But I think for the green transition and the sustainability in the apparel sector, there are other aspects we really need to look into. That is the labor condition, fair wages, and social compliances. So in your view, is Bangladesh green finance ecosystem adequately addressing the social dimension? Over to you.
Like what I have learned from Bangladesh Bank, actually, we had a couple of discussion earlier and we had a session with the energy minister where they have explained something. But in regard to that, they are focusing on the renewable energy. Like, for example, the factory need to be green. Like, for example, the LEED certified, how factory is green. But when it is focusing on the labor rights and others issue, maybe some new tools or some requirement can be focused from the institute. Like, factory should focus on the labor issue because we need to consider the GSP plus and also the LDC graduation. So with this like solar panel or energy equipment, you have to consider the like involvement of the factory, how the labor rights, living wages and others can be considered. So if we can fulfill that thing, like considering the DIFE, the Ministry of Labor and other organization and along with Bangladesh Bank, if combinedly they can focus on like how the internal finance can be used and also the others finance which is available outside of Bangladesh, that can also be considered.
Thank you so much. I think I would also like to give an input from our side because with Denmark and Netherlands together, we have these decent work activities where we work together, working for the labor condition in the RMG sectors and the textile sectors. Now, I really want to ask to my next panelist, Mr. Chaudhary Liaquat Ali, Director from the Sustainable Finance Department, Bangladesh Bank. So for Bangladesh Bank, green refinancing scheme for apparel is arguably the most ambitious central bank-led initiative because the sustainable finance policy that you have been developed. So my first question is about reach. So in your assessment, how effectively is the scheme reaching the factories that need it at most? I'm talking about the medium small enterprises, tier 2, tier 3 industry who lack collateral, banking relationships, or even the documentation capacity.
Thank you very much for the questions. Bangladesh Bank recognized that the refinance schemes alone cannot deliver the scale of investment required a green transformation fund of the apparel sectors. So to build the market appetite, Bangladesh Bank has been working on several fronts. Number one, to strengthen the policy and the regulatory framework. Bangladesh Bank has already introduced the sustainable finance policy for bank and finance company, and the environmental and social risk management guidelines for the banks and finance company. And we giving the lending quota to the bank and finance company. Every bank and finance company should disburse the 40% of the total disbursed loan as the sustainable finance, and 5% of the total disbursed loan should be the green finance. And number two is that we provide the incentives for encouraging the sustainable finance or to promoting the green finance for the banking sector. We introduced the sustainability rating for banks, and the name of the top sustainable bank we disclose in our website. That's why actually banks are willingly to extend the green finance and the sustainable finance. And third one is we build the institutional capacity. Over the years, Bangladesh Bank actually has invested the significantly training awareness workshops for the bank people as well as the industry people. And we actually instructed to the bank and finance company to educate at least three borrowers regarding the sustainability, sustainable finance, green finance issue, and at least one person should extend the green finance to them. And fourth one is the improving the disclosure and the accountability. We given a guideline for bank and finance company to disclose their sustainability and the climate-related financial disclosure. Actually, why we give this guideline? Actually, for attracting the foreign investors in our country. That's why we instructed to the bank they must disclose their sustainability and the climate-related financial disclosure. And we established some refinance scheme. Recently, you see the circulars already. As all of we know that our export sector actually fully depends on the ready-made garments. But we see that there is a product concentration risk and the market concentration risk over there. That's why to encourage the diversify of the export goods, we established a refinance scheme for the diversified goods. And this is the 3,000 crore taka for this fund, and bank and finance company can avail the refinance from this fund for the diversified industries. Actually, whose instruments or which sectors we covered under this fund? You look at the export policy 24 to 27. We covered all the thrust sectors as well as the special development sectors, and these sectors are like as the high value added ready-made garments, high value added denims, and the man-made fibers, and the garment sectors and the pharmaceuticals. And these are the high priority sectors, and the special development sectors are the electric and electronics and the value added fields. So these are the actually Bangladesh Bank initiatives. And another refinance scheme actually was established under the Green Transformation Fund only for the local and the micro level enterprises. These schemes under amounting to taka 1,000 crore at a low cost, only the 2% interest will be charged to the bank and finance company, and 5% will be charged to the borrowers. So there is a very lucrative and the low cost fund for exploring or for the promoting our sustainable finance as well as the export diversified finance.
To follow.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, to follow up with your question, I can see that you have, even with from EU side, with Bangladesh Bank, we have very lucrative concessional finance for apparel sector. So I think with the product you are explaining, these are very attractive for the apparel sector. But my question is, apart from this concessional financing, how Bangladesh Bank is helping commercial bank to, because without concessional financing, how they can move on? So in that aspect, how Bangladesh Bank is working with the commercial bank. Maybe you can start with the commercial bank when they have to report their corporate reporting. From there, I would like to hear something from your side, very briefly.
Actually, if you see our earlier circular, we are very much imposing some hurdle conditions for availing these sort of funds. But as per our sustainable finance policy, we always encouraging the bank and finance company to extend their financing, especially the green and sustainable finance, at a lower cost. And as well as, though the refinance scheme is not attractive solutions for the growth of the economics, as all of you know that any single money inject from the sustainable Bangladesh Bank, it creates the higher inflation. But for promoting for the our expectation is that our industry, especially the diversified export products, up to the level, then we actually up to the level we are establishing this sort of refinance scheme for the bank and finance company. But major challenges is that bank and finance company actually didn't show their interest this sort of fund to this sector, because the spread of this fund, because we giving the low spread to the bank, only 3%. But if the bank and finance company uses their own fund, they get the high spread. But we are increasingly pressurize them to lower the cost. Either they extend their financing at a lower cost, and otherwise you avail our refinance scheme for the exporters. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now I turn to Mr. Edwin Kukuk, first counselor and team leader for Green Inclusive Development, EU delegation in Bangladesh. So Edwin, so EU Green Deal, Corporate Due Diligence Directive, and also many more. So with EU various policies, now Bangladesh has to cope up with all these policies and comply to have their business ongoing. My first question is about alignment to you. So how is the EU delegation working to ensure that these regulatory demands are accompanied by proportionate green finance and technical assistance for Bangladesh manufacturers?
Okay, thank you. And thank you for having me here. Yes, first of all, I think it's good to explain that the EU sets these rules for sustainability reasons, but also we set these rules because otherwise each country sets their own sustainability rules. So by having one set of rules, it means that when you want to have access to the market, you need to meet the European standards. So it's in the interest also of the exporter. It's also good to understand, and I'm sure that this audience understands that better than anyone, that you have the rules, but you also have the buyers who set their own requirements. And the buyers are actually comparing the producing countries. They are looking at how labor rights are implemented. They're also looking at pollution. They're also looking at the decarbonization trajectory. So, for example, we have seen presentations from H&M, which is looking into the decarbonization trajectory of all the producing countries in this region. They look at how much are the factories electrified, what is the share of renewable energy in the energy mix, what kind of energy efficient machinery is being used in that country. So it is in the interest of the producers to meet the European legislation, because then you have access to the market, and it also helps you meeting the requirements from many large European and also other international buyers. We do quite a lot as European Union to support the industry. We had a project that is finalized, the safety retrofitting and environmental upgrading project, which we did together with the Bangladesh Bank, which supported 62 factories with their effluent treatment plants, energy efficient machinery, and rooftop solar. We have a project called Switch to Circular, which tries to improve the circularity of the factories, with also 2 small pilot projects. We are now discussing a new loan, a large loan to invest in energy efficiency, renewable energy, and also circular economy in the private sector, and in particular the denim sector and the RMG sector would be a very important part of that new loan. I think I stop here.
Yeah. I think second question, there will be a repetition of your first answers, but I would still like to question to you. How do you reconcile the pace of EU sustainability requirements with the investment timelines and capital constraints facing a mid-tier Bangladeshi denim factory today?
Yes. So again, perhaps there's something more general. So as European Union, we are now more and more looking into how we can invest in Bangladesh in a way that it really supports Bangladesh, but also supports Europe. So we are looking for win-win situations, and we consider the RMG sector, the denim sector, as an important sector because it is one of the key suppliers to Europe, and our buyers are very much focusing on your country. So we are trying to find good ways of investing in the sector. So indeed, we are discussing a 300 million euros loan to invest in energy efficiency, renewable energy, and circular economy. At the same time, we realize that it's not always easy to meet the requirements of this sector. Often we hear the complaints that we are too slow, we need the money quicker, we are too risk aversive. So we are now assessing also how we can even meet the demands of the sector in a better way. And we are also having a dialogue with the sector. We have one project, and then I stop, one project called the Green Energy Transition Partnership Policy Advisory Program, JETPAP. It's a 9 million euros program that is financed by the EU and Germany, under which we try to do all kinds of studies that are also in the interest of, inter alia, the RMG sector, contributing to enhancing the energy transition of your sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edwin. In addition to that, actually, Edwin, you bring out all the aspect from our green inclusive development team, also from our human capital development team. We have this decent work team with Denmark and Netherlands, and also our budget support program, which is actually grant based, trying to help to the tier 2 and 3 industries together. Now, I would like to ask question to Dr. Fahmida Khanum, Additional Secretary, Environment Wing from Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, to have your regulatory perspective from the environment side. So, Dr. Fahmida, the Ministry of Environment has been at the forefront of Bangladesh green industrial policy, from ATP mandates to the recent National Adaptation Plan. My first question is about progress. So from the Ministry of Environment's perspective, how would you rate Bangladesh progress on the green transition in the apparel sector over the last 10 years? And what are you most encouraged by when you look at the industry has achieved or not achieved?
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me here. If we look at the green transition part, and the achievement of the apparel sector, definitely achievement is tremendous. I should say achievement is tremendous because it's leading. Globally, it's leading now. More than 250 plus LEED certified factories in Bangladesh. Definitely, it's leading. And if you look at the environmental perspective, environmental governance, because of limited capacity, although Bangladesh has environmental governance, has limited capacity, but the apparel sector, denim and apparel sector, I should say, that garments, ready-made garment sector, because of the competition, global competition, and ESG criteria, I should say, they are leading, and they are exceeding the basic criteria to be fulfilled by our national law. Exceeding those who are LEED certified, they are in fact exceeding, and that's the tremendous part of the garments and apparel sector. However, we have both the leading part. Among the apparel sector, we have medium industries and we have small industries as well in the apparel sector. So we need to not only focus, that 250 plus LEED certified industries are there, but we have to consider the medium, small and medium sector as well. On that sector, small and medium part, we have to consider and bring them under the environmental governance and support them to come within the environmental governance. That is also a challenging part, I think.
Thank you so much. My next question would be a bit of leading question. So Ministry of Environment, so you working on the environment policy and regulations. And in terms of that, you really need to have a lot of coordination with Ministry of Industries, BGMES, companies for implementing, and also with the development partners. From your experience, how well is the coordination currently functioning? And what one institutional change would make the biggest difference in ensuring that environmental policy and green finance instruments are working together?
Before I talk about coordination, what we are doing, I should also mention first. Currently, the Ministry for greening the industries, there are a number of policies have been taken. Everybody knows, I think. Like we have updated our ECR 2023. We are finalizing our EPR. Probably it will be promulgated within this month or next month, Extended Producers' Responsibility for Plastic Wastes. And there are certain wastes. We are now working on ready-made wastes coming from ready-made garments and apparel sector. We are working on that, both liquid waste and solid wastes. We are working how we are going to add value chain on the solid waste and bring circularity within this waste management. For both solid wastes coming out of apparel sector, that part. In addition, we are working with, under GIZ funding, we are working with Ministry of Commerce under Style Project and the coming project, Circle Project. And in the Style Project, we are working on, we are updating existing hazardous waste management rules, and we are developing chemical management rules. So when when the rules will be placed, adopted, and promulgated, then how the industries should respond and industries to adopt with these rules in that area, that ecosystem we are developing as well. In addition to that, we are also factory inspection guidelines, which has already been completed and in process. ETP design, drawing, evaluation guideline we have developed, and online we have piloted online ETP monitoring, because ETP monitoring is a challenge for us because of limited capacity. So online ETP monitoring, there are 2 CETP and 4 ETP. 2 CTPs and 4 factories with ETPs are under, we are running a pilot project under Style Project, so identifying that how we can do the online ETP monitoring, And we are also working with the Ministry of Commerce support. We are also working, the requirement for EU digital DPP, digital passport product, as well as other developing products. On that side, this is the environmental side we are talking. But however, when we talk about coordination, like financing, for coordination in financing, we are focusing on developing an endowment fund. We actually worked with World Bank to develop an endowment fund, through which endowment fund, the industry or apparel sector industry owners, they can apply for a soft loan, and as an incentive, showing to all the required mandatory due diligence, environmental due diligence, they have to achieve under EU regulations. For that, for sourcing those grants, we are trying. In addition to that, as a ministry, as a focal for global framework on chemicals, we are also working with GFC Secretariat to get fund on a global harmonized system, GHS system. It have to be established in Bangladesh to ensure the occupational health and safety part, and as well as, global environment facility. In that part, we are trying to work on that part. So here, regarding coordination, coming back to your question, sorry for taking more, coming back to your question, regarding coordination, we think that if we can go for an one-stop service, which is government is trying to establish under BIDA. In fact, one-stop service, an online due diligence support, online platform for due diligence, where Ministry of Commerce, Bangladesh Bank, like Bangladesh Bank wants to send loan, wants to give loan to certain factory, he can check the online platform whether he has certain, they have done the environmental due diligence. This is one way to coordinate with the ministries. Another way is making a high-level committee, a multi-stakeholder committee who will be where, high-level committee, I should say, secretary or minister level, where there will be focal points from each ministry or organization where everybody will be responsible to say that why this has not been done.
I think from your discussion,
perspective
that is also giving us idea about our CETP intervention. Maybe we have to have this coordination together to CETP to be mechanized. So maybe we'll do the follow-up with you later.
Yes.
Now my next question to our next panelist, Ms. Mafruda Rahman, Country Strategy Manager, Resilient Water Accelerator. So water is arguably the most underappreciated dimension. I think I would say not underappreciated, most appreciated dimension of apparel sustainability. And denim manufacturing in particular is notoriously water intensive, from fiber production to dyeing and finishing. My first question is about risk. So, from the Resilient Water Accelerator's perspective, how acute is the water risk facing Bangladesh denim sector? And are manufacturers and the government treating it with the urgency it deserves?
Thank you very much for that wonderful question, and thank you very much for having me today. I think, like you said, whether it's underappreciated or overappreciated, it is overappreciated in the terms that it is one of the key factors in the textile apparel wet processes. So denim being cotton-based and it has several wet processes, definitely water is one of the key inputs of the production. In that way, it's appreciated, but underappreciated when it comes to be considered as sustainable development and, of course, in terms of investments. Are we taking the proper investments, taking the proper measures to reduce our risk related to water access? Now, often people say that, what is the water risk in Bangladesh? We are a delta country, a riverine country. We have sufficient amount of water. Why do we really need to have to think about the water? But if you look into the trend related with the impacts of the climate change, increasing heat, extensive runoff of the water rather than infiltration, the underground water is going down by almost 2 to 3 meters every year, which means that our extraction has been much more higher than that of the infiltration. And that's the ground reality for the industrial sector as well, who are highly dependent. It's not only about the apparel, denim, or textile. It's all those industries who are dependent on the water. They're at the brink of severe risks, specifically in the next 10 years. We believe that there will be significant amount of risk related with access to quality water and on-time water. So some of the experts are also saying Bangladesh will face water-related crisis related with potable drinking water and also for industrial production. Now, coming to the fact that what kind of risk are we talking about? It's more of like a creeping systemic risk that the economist says, right? So for energy crisis, the impacts, the reactions are more instant. People feel that my cost of production is going up, I need to do something about the energy. But when it comes to the water, it's a very silently disturbing thing that's going on at the back of your entire ecosystem. It silently becomes so devastating after a threshold that it creates significant impact. I mean, significantly severe impact, unlike energy, because you can import energy. How would you import water? If you're talking about a water infrastructure as an alternative source of water, not underground, then you're talking about significant amount of investment. So that kind of shock is something we really need to plan. We should start planning on right now. Regarding the question that how the manufacturing industries are responding to these risks, I think some of the leading factories, specifically the representative from Chinchin Group on my left, they are doing a lot on the water. Some of the leading factories are also doing a lot on the water, investing in technologies like ZLD, zero liquid discharge, which hardly has any business case, but they're still exploring the opportunities, because eventually it will be and operational risks for this factory. It will be about business continuity rather than just ESG and compliance. So these are happening, but industry-wide adoption, if I may have to say, it is not that significant. You know, that like Madam has already mentioned that what about the medium and the small factories, how compliant they are, how serious they are when it comes to these kind of interventions. I would say they're significantly unaware, and a lot of capacity building technical assistance needs to flow on that area. In terms of the government interventions, I think it has been significantly, I mean, Department of Environment, Ministry has done a lot of work regarding developing policy and rules related with groundwater usage. But now it's time to really think on how to convert this policy and rules into bankable investment related with, water technology. So we really have to think about how to mobilize finance to make those policy rules a reality for the apparel sector.
That would be exactly my next question. So in terms of, because it is in the intersection of climate resilience and investment mobilization. So in practical terms, what does it take to unlock private and development finance specifically for water efficiency and water resilience projects within Bangladesh apparel supply chain? And where does the current financing architecture fall most critically short?
I think it mostly depends on 5 major factors. That's including starting, like I said, building the capacity for having a technical bankable project pipeline. So if I go to a financial institution, say, hey, I want to invest in water, give me some concessional money. Of course, they will not be interested into doing so. You need to have data, you need to have results related with how much water you're saving, what will be the outcomes in terms of reducing your discharge, how competitive you will be in the global market. So all these things needs to be assessed when we're developing these kind of proposals. Only then the financiers believe, okay, this might give you some kind of a return in the long term. Secondly, you need to look into packaging some of this technology, ETP, ZLD, membrane, water efficiency in the production. Don't look it in silos, make it in the package, and then calculate the outcomes. It will be much more appealing in terms of capex, opex return, payback period for the financiers and for yourself as well. Thirdly, a lot of the de-risking needs to be done when it comes to the water, because as you know, water is not priced here in Bangladesh. So hardly a lot of the investors don't see a business case in terms of investing in water, but they are business case when you look into energy savings, chemical savings, and also your, the benefits that you get in terms of meeting the KPIs of the brand. So they are business case. What you really need to do, what you really need to have some development financial institutions or the national entities de-risk those investments. Could be in terms of viability gap funding, long-term concessional funding, technical assistance, but not use this concessionality to subsidize everything, but rather to help those early adopters who want to take that risk and then come into this water-related investments. And eventually, when you showcase some of the positive business cases, local financial institutions will also crowd in. Thirdly, it's very important to make sure that there's a brand alignment when we're talking about investments like this. Brands will keep on pushing you to meet those water targets instantly at a very short period of time. But that's quite difficult for our suppliers, and with also very thin margins, it's quite difficult for them to go for those investments. So they will also have to participate in this financial architecture. Another important thing is the MRV system. So monitoring, reporting, verification is important when it comes to water. And as our sir from Central Bank has already mentioned that, Bangladesh Bank has allocated around 5% of every financial institution's loan disbursement for green finance and 40% for sustainable finance. So if we can really prove water outcomes and connect that with this reporting architecture that's already there, established by the Central Bank, we can definitely mobilize a lot of the finance for this kind of water investment. Lastly, the shortfall, I believe, is mostly that no one considers water as an investment class. You look into factories, they talk about decarbonization, they talk about renewable energy, energy efficiency. You have financial products dedicated to these kind of investments, but when it comes to the water, they hardly consider as an investment class. So that mentality, that change of mind needs to be there to mobilize significant amount of finance.
Thank you so much. You gave us really very good ideas. Maybe we need to follow up from that aspect as well. So my next question to my next panelist, Mohammad Sohel Sadat, chairman from Shinshin Group. As a manufacturer who has walked the talk on sustainability from lead certified factories to water recycling, your perspective is invaluable. My first question is about the reality of green finance. What has the actual experience of securing green finance look like, and where did the system fall short of what the sector genuinely needs? Maybe from your experience.
Yeah. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me here. Actually, first of all, I would like to highlight that sustainability agenda is like very vast. And when we are sitting in the ground and when we have those policy level or Bangladesh Bank or so many steps, but if we talk about the SME or the small medium industries, they don't know about it, they are not aware. So sustainability agenda is like as a whole, we have to really take it not as a business case, like maybe first of all we have to take that, no, we have to bring it up and it's a different perspective. Example, if we say that like first of our journey into green finance began not from the incentive, from the responsibility. Shinshin Group is using renewable energy, energy efficient machines, energy recycling, use water reuse, then all from the sense of responsible business because we cannot endanger the earth since we have only one earth to live. We have currently 284 lead green certified factories certified by the United States Green Building Council. Out of top 100 lead green garment factories in the world, 62 are located in Bangladesh. Shinshin Group have 2 among them, and we have many more coming in the way. Green factories are not just getting the higher prices, nor they did the received grant or for making it greener. It is our entrepreneurs who are actively and proactively engaged in doing that from the responsibility, from the positive mindset. Of course, our buyers are collaborating in this journey, but I think we have many a scope to do it more, strengthen it more better way. As far as the access in green finance concerned, especially Bangladesh Bank, green financing instruments, of course, Bangladesh Bank in a policy level, like the organization, but when it come to the commercial bank, first of all, I don't know, it is my personal feelings that they don't open up. They don't share the information, and they don't want to do the marketing for this green financing. They want to sell their product because they have the profit target. And all the time we go there, they bring so much of rules and regulation that is maybe sometime we qualify, we can manage, but for a small medium entrepreneurs, maybe sometimes they don't understand as well. Then the next point comes like, okay, then if we talk about bringing them on board, like maybe we can set some rules. Example, for our case, one of the building we made lead certified, and based on the understanding with the bank that they are going to finance. But later on, for some reason, they didn't disburse as of today, 2 years passed, and we never get this loan. Today also I had a discussion that under the new circular that I'm going to get this money or not. But they are saying that we will look into it. For me, it's like more of a like they have the profit target, they have to achieve those, and they try to avoid, and they don't want to open, they don't want to explain much about it. That is my experience. And if we talk about like, thank you very much, like if I talk about some other stakeholders, I think awareness is very important. Like a lot of European Union is working, Danish embassy is working, UK is working. So everybody, all the environment team is working. I think if we can coordinate effectively, first of all, aware the people that what it is about, and if we can make it. Sometimes bank have the NPL problem. That is nothing to do with us, but we don't qualify because my bank is that, and I have only one financial institute. If they have got this non-performing loan problem, they don't qualify for this loan. And at the end of the day, we don't qualify. We don't get the finance. So in that context, my suggestion is we have to really look into the greater perspective that how we can build up the awareness. This is most important. Most of the people in the small medium sector, they don't understand even, they don't know. Forget about, I think, financing. First of all, what is the sustainability? What are the scope? And second point is making it simpler. Like, as Bangladesh Bank is the regulatory board, maybe bank is having problem because bank, of course, in the medium, like they have to maybe handle the situation or handle the finance, but they have nothing to do with their NPL or they have nothing to do with anything else. So if we can apply to our commercial bank at the same time, if we can notify Bangladesh Bank that we have applied for this, so that some kind of connectivity will help bank to look into it that no, we cannot ignore. Simply we cannot ignore because they need more profit margin. So I think that is my specific suggestion in that context, that awareness and making the finance much more easier in a practical way so that small medium industries can qualify, they can enjoy the facilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. From your perspective, actually, I really want to mention here about our safety environmental retrofitting project with Bangladesh Bank. The idea you are giving now, we have already practiced it with Bangladesh Bank through the awareness and the technical assistance program, and we supported 62 RMG factories to access the finance loan. And I think this is a message for Bangladesh Bank as well, how we can replicate this kind of model, because this project is completed, maybe with next intervention with all of your facilities, how RMG factories can access this. We really have to look into that direction. My second question is about from the buyer's perspective. In your experience, how aligned our buyers' sustainability demands with their willingness to share the financial burden of the green transition with their supplier?
Thank you very much. Let me put it in a little bit more of a simple and a straight way that most of the cases alignment is weak. Like yes, a customer have their own sustainability agenda. Maybe they are working in a greater way, but when it comes to our end, then maybe the coordination level, expectation level is not being transmitted efficiently, or maybe they are transmitted, but when we get the job done, we take it to them. Then the next part, like kind of appreciation or kind of some kind of incentive, we don't see it much. So I see that from the brand perspective, if we talk about the sustainability, those who we undertake, we are working a lot, we are working hard for achieving those goals. I think they can bring some kind of incentive to the manufacturer so that we get inspired and we can take it forward further. And like especially the communication ESG ESCO, then audit requirements, payment terms, that obviously really translates into shared financial responsibility. As a manufacturer, we are expected to invest in lead certified infrastructure or renewable energy, chemical management, worker welfare program, all of which carry real cost. Yet the price per garment we receive has not moved in proportion to those investments. Nevertheless, there are exceptions worth acknowledging. Some buyers, particularly those with credible board level sustainability commitments, have engaged in more meaningful conversations around the green premiums. They are supporting their sustainable suppliers with long term sourcing agreement. That is very important. When we talk about we are investing, we are working very hard, and then we bring it to the next level, we need some kind of commitment from the customers that, okay, certain example, maybe business continuation, 3 years commitment. Yes, we understand the difficulties they have. Maybe the business drops ups and down. Yes, we all understand their difficulties as well. But if we have the continuation of the business, when we invest, we undertake, then it is much more comfortable. It will be much more inspiring, and I think it will be much more meaningful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much to my panelists, because you are very much on time with the panel discussion, and I really appreciate it. So now we have 5 minutes of time to do a Q&A. So I would really request to ask only the question, and please mention to whom you want to ask question.
I would like to ask the question to Dr. Famida Kanom. Great to see all these initiatives on helping the sector to recycle the industrial waste. But, and also combined question to Mr. Kukuk, what about the waste in the streets? If something can help the sector and if something can help the image, the international image of Bangladesh in the world, it's cleaning the streets. So what are the initiatives there?
Maybe if you can.
How about
There is
your question, if I can understand, is what is the status of the waste in the streets?
no, so you have all kinds of initiatives that are focused on recycling the waste that is created by the industry. But what about recycling, collecting the waste that are out there in the streets of Dhaka and Bangladesh?
Okay. The first thing is this ministry, the management, waste management of the solid waste management of city corporations, Paurashabhas, are the responsibility of the local government division. And our ministry has the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, as well as Department of Environment, has promulgated the rule, Solid Waste Management Rules 2021, where it is said by the local government division and local government authorities like city corporation, they have to do, according to the rule, the source segregation, separate the wastes in the MRF, material recovery facility they have to develop, and then reducing the waste, recycling and recovering all the wastes, and whatever which, the amount of waste which cannot be recycled can go to the sanitary landfill. That's the rule, like other international countries. So why I should ask the city corporation and local government division and Paurashabhas cannot work or are not working? On behalf of this city corporation, if I say, because when I ask, because we are the regulatory body, we even find city corporation, we find Amin Bajar and Matuail also from the Department of Environment, that we find them for polluting the streets and everything. But when we went there, we said another government institution, we asked, because of the planning, you know, the urban population growth, it was massive within the 80s and 90s, unplanned development of the city corporation area as well as the Pauro Shabhas. The planning wasn't there. And even our Department of Planning, like UDD has been developed few years ago. So they have to do the regional planning. Because of that, planning is not there. So they didn't keep space for landfills, sanitary landfills. They don't have plan for sewage treatment plants. So now what they are doing, because we put the pressure when the rule in 2021 is promulgated, December 2021, now we are putting pressure. Give us the plan. Give us the plan, what you are going to do, how you are going to manage these wastes. And, for the new government election manifesto, this one came strongly, and hopefully they will work now. And they will give us the plan and they will develop that way. They are working, in fact.
One question only. We are also hopeful. Maybe this gentleman in the second row.
But this is outside of this area.
Very precisely.
Sure. Hello, everyone. This is Bappi. I represent a sourcing office in Bangladesh. So with the new rules in the EU with CSDDD, green transition, there is further pressure on the suppliers on investing in sustainability practices. So my question, especially to Mr. Edwin, since he's representing the EU delegation, is there any initiative where the brands are also participating or contributing to the investment? And secondly, if there is any regulation where the brands are also responsible to ensure a better purchasing practices for the factories who are following the sustainability rules and ensuring a better environment for their facility. Thank you.
Brands. You are talking about brands, right? Brands.
Okay. Actually,
Switch to circular. Switch to circular.
Yes. So in the switch to circular project, indeed, there is involvement of H&M in two pilot projects. We try to involve the brands now more. I spoke earlier about this. We call it GetPep projects. We try to involve them now more in our work. At the same time, and I know this doesn't sound popular, what I'm saying, I always hear in Bangladesh, the buyers should also pay part of the cost. But to be frank, they are comparing. They have their requirements. They want to green, but they are looking at what is there in the market. What can countries provide? So I think they want to help. That there's also an MOU between H&M and PRAN with the involvement of IFC to help increasing the use of renewable energy. But for me, it's a little bit too easy to say the buyers should pay. They are looking at, they want to green the sector, but they also want to make money, and they are comparing what is out there. So they are comparing Bangladesh with India, with Vietnam, with Indonesia, and I think Bangladesh is doing quite well in the area of safety now and also environment. But decarbonization is actually an issue. It's difficult for you to electrify because the grid is not ready for electrification. And even if you would electrify, the share of renewable energy is very, very low. And yes, so this is what I can reply.
Thank you so much, Edwin. I would love to hear some question, but I'm really with a very limited timeline. But I would really like to request you, because here Denmark is here, EU is here, because there are some initiatives ongoing. So please keep searching for that initiatives which will help you to have some support for your own factories or intervention. We have this, our people from regulatory aspects. Actually, we want to have a follow-up with Bangladesh Bank because we are planning something with related to investment. We maybe will get back to you on that. And from the practicing side, from the company's perspective, you really gave us a very good idea for our next intervention. We will really look into that direction as well. Thank you so much to our wonderful panelists and the audience.